All right, the last thing we're going to cover in this section is creating a custom hook. So here's the current implementation of the app component. Now, there is nothing particularly wrong about this implementation, but let's imagine that we have another component in which we need to fetch the list of users from the server. Perhaps we want to show the users in a drop-down list. If there is such a requirement, in that component, we have to declare 3 state variables. One for storing our users, one for our error message, and one for the loading indicator. In that component, we should also use an effect like this to fetch the users from the server. This is a lot of code duplication. This is where we can use a custom hook to share functionality across different components. A hook is just a function, so we can move all this logic we are going to reuse across components into a custom hook or a custom function. Let me show you how to do this. So back to our project, here in the source folder, we add a new folder called hooks. Here we add a new file called use users. So by convention, all hooks should start with the word use, just like we have use state, use effect, and use ref. Now, this is just a regular TypeScript module. In this module, we're going to define a function called use users, just a regular function, and then export it from this module. Now we're going back to the app component. Now, what is the piece of logic we want to share across these hypothetical components? Well, we need our state variables and the effect hook. So let's select all this code except our event handlers, because these event handlers are specific to this component. So we cut this code from here and then paste it into our new function. As simple as that. Now, we have a few compilation errors. All of them are because of missing import statements. So because we are using the state hook, let's import it on the top. We also need to import the user interface, as well as the effect hook and the user service. There is one more error. That's because of the canceled error class. Now we can import this from Axios or from our API client. I prefer to import this from our API client, so we have fewer import statements. So all the errors are gone. Now in this function, we need to return our state variables so they can be used in our component. So at the end, we return an object with 3 properties: our users, the error, and is loading. Okay, now we're going to use this custom hook in our app component. So back to this component, here we call use users. This returns an object. We can destructure it to grab the list of users, the error, and is loading properties. Now, here we have a few compilation errors because in this component, we need functions like set users and set error. So we should return them from our custom hook as well. So set users and set error. Now, back to the app component. Let's add them here. All right, all the errors are gone. So in this component, we are using a custom hook to fetch the list of users. Now, if we have another component where we need to show the list of users, perhaps in a drop-down list, we can simply reuse this custom hook to fetch all the users as well as potential errors and the loading state. This is the benefit of custom hooks. Using a custom hook, we can share functionality across different components.